All right.
Johnny Z.
I am liking this.
Yeah.
It's a new show. Here we go.
Let's go.
You know what? This is the way you got to bring a Friday in.
Like
Yeah.
a
That's
vibe.
good. That's
Finally
good.
Friday.
Well, welcome to the new
Thank
noon.
you.
The
Yes.
hour-long noon. Thank you for joining us here at KARE 11 News at noon. This is John. You've seen him before. He's a good friend of the
you. I
show.
appreciate it.
And hey, we're keeping up with some major developments as well today. Cece, what's on deck?
Yeah, so some big news overseas with Israel's overnight attacks on Iran. The First Lady is making a stop in Minnesota today, and we want to make sure you're prepared from some weekend road closures.
Speaking of prepared, when it started to, I don't know, look like winter this morning,
It was snowing on
was
you.
not prepared, John.
It was snowing on you. I know. Okay, so 36. It was what we call graupel. It's like almost like a sleet, but it was not snowing, but it was actually coming down pretty hard, and it was a big reminder of where we live. And temperatures out there right now, they have dropped into the 30s, 34 in Crystal, 36 in St. Cloud. They're not even above freezing yet in Bemidji. So we've got the winds to go along with these temperatures. Winds right now at 32 miles per hour, sustained in Marshall. Look at the wind gusts, 38, even in the Twin Cities. So it does feel very chilly. You can see winds almost near 40, and it is 40 in Rochester. So what does it feels like? What is the wind chill? 17 degrees in Alexandria. Welcome back to winter. Remember on Saturday when it was 85, and now here we go. Snow flurries with the graupel mixed in, which is just those heavy balls of snow. That's what that actually is. Again, some more moving over to Stillwater. I think we'll see a couple more little bouts of snow as we go through the afternoon here. It's not going to cause any problems, but it is going to keep us chilly. Temperatures staying in the 30s or maybe the low 40s today. Grab a coat.
John, thank you. As we mentioned just a minute ago, Israel carried out a strike against Iran early this morning. It's in retaliation against this month's onslaught of drone and missiles fired at targets in Israel. Cece, you've been checking with our sources at NBC. What are you able to tell us?
Yeah, so we've kind of been waiting to see how Israel would respond to those Iranian drone and missile attacks. And this morning we got our answer, but we're told that at least for now, it doesn't look like there will be further escalation. So here's what we know so far. A source familiar with the situation tells NBC News that Israel carried out a, quote, limited strike inside of Iran. This afternoon, we're still working to learn whether the strike was carried out by aircraft, by missiles, or by drones, but it does seem that the target was a military base near the city of Isfahan. Right now, both Israel and Iran appearing to downplay this situation, and Israel isn't confirming or denying that it was responsible.
I think we have to assume that that's it from Israel for the time being. And perhaps they're just trying to see whether or not Iran is going to respond.
Again, at least for now, we're told Israel doesn't seem to be bracing for major retaliation. Within the last few hours, U.S. officials spoke out about this attack. We'll hear from them in our next half hour.
So were there any American troops or soldiers involved in the attack?
Right. So according to NBC News, U.S. officials say they were given a general heads up about it happening, but American troops were not involved in this attack.
Thanks for the update, Cece. Well, as early as tomorrow, the U.S. could vote on a set of bills meant to send aid overseas. House Speaker Mike Johnson is expected to get enough Democratic support to push the bills to the Senate. President Biden is behind them. The bills allocate $95 billion for Ukraine and Israel. It also includes a potential ban on TikTok. One of the former Minneapolis police officers convicted in George Floyd's murder is now done with his federal prison sentence, but he's got a few more months behind bars. Thomas Lane is still serving time for state charges in Minnesota. Lane pleaded guilty to aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter in connection to Floyd's murder. He's currently scheduled to be released from his Minnesota sentence in August. That's when he will begin supervision. Well, if you own a Mac or iPhone, we want to warn you about a scam going on in Plymouth. Police say victims are getting an Apple security alert pop-up asking them to call a number. Scammers answer and disguise themselves as a customer service rep, trying to convince the person to give them remote access or convince them to withdraw money to fix a problem. Plymouth police want Apple owners to know the company does not send security warnings and you should not respond. In about 5 hours, First Lady Jill Biden will land in Minnesota to speak at the Education Minnesota Convention in Bloomington. She's expected to announce a national coalition of teachers, school staff, and parents to re-elect President Biden. The presidents of the National Education Association and the American Federation of Teachers are also expected to attend. The groups have nearly 5 million members combined. A teachers union is getting ready to vote on a new contract for teachers' aides that could prevent a strike. Members of SEIU Local 284 reached a tentative deal with the Rocori School District last Friday. The agreement came just days after the union filed their intent to strike, which could have begun today. Now, new contracts would include raises across the board and better pay for the longest serving aides. The bargaining team is recommending members vote yes to the agreement. At the state capitol, lawmakers are hearing calls to pass new laws that would make insurance companies cover fertility treatments. Political reporter John Croman explains what the proposal could mean for Minnesota families.
Minnesota is one of 29 states that does not require insurance coverage for fertility treatments. While many large employers, including the state of Minnesota, do provide that coverage, many families have to pay for it out of pocket.
21 states have adopted this legislation. We can be number 22.
DFL State Rep Jeff Brand of St. Peter is the lead author of the bill that would require private insurance plans to cover the cost of fertility treatments, including in vitro fertilization or IVF.
The average cost of in vitro fertilization falls between $14,000 and $20,000 per attempt. While I know this number well today, no one really knows the exact cost of their knee replacement or their hospital delivery because insurance covers it.
Mariah Grant went through several costly, unsuccessful attempts at becoming a mother before giving birth to her daughter Isla, but can't afford to try again.
We still hope to give Isla a sibling, but we cannot afford it without insurance coverage.
The health insurance industry group here in Minnesota says the legislature should be cautious about this, saying that any new mandate would drive up costs for everybody. They also say that if the state does require this coverage, the state should help pay for it. At the Capitol, John Croman, KARE 11 News.